Hello, this is a more informal video than normal because it's going to be, thank you Jinx, out of date fairly quickly, and I might even delete this a few months from now. But because I've gotten a lot of questions about it, will I go over the new Dragon Age novel, Tevinter Nights? Yes. Yes, I will. But to do so, I want to include participation from you, the audience. I'm about to go over what I mean by that, but included later in the video, I also want to give a small primer on what you might want to know before heading into the novel on your own. Now, this will not include spoilers, as there has already been just a ton floating about, but this is more based on the titles of the short stories and really nothing more. If you already know about my series on the Book Emporium and just want to skip to the primer, then here is a timecode for that on the screen. Anyway, if you're new or haven't seen the other Dragon Age book reviews I've done, then I've linked below a playlist of my finished series so you can kind of get some idea of what I'm doing. The gist is, the Book Emporium is like a book club. What I did was divide each book into about 100-page segments, then starting off each video with a summary of what happened in those 100 pages, and then ending a discussion that includes not only me ranting about some lore stuff, but fan theories, ideas, fan art, and even jokes about what we just read that were submitted by you guys. So on the screen now are how I'm dividing up the chapters, which there is a Google Sheet link below if you would rather keep that than this video. And along with that are dates listed when each thing is actually due for those sections. So please send me any fan theories, thoughts, fan art, or whatever you have to either my Twitter DMs at Gilderthallen or my email, gilderthallen@gmail.com. Now, there are some rules. Number 1, when submitting something, please tell me what short story you are submitting for. It's totally okay to submit something that will be covered much later in the video series, but sometimes you guys are very vague on what you're talking about, and I have to guess, and I don't like doing that. Number 2, please try to keep things short, and if you do want to write some long theory or something similar, please post it somewhere so I can link to it. It can be your blog, Reddit, even a Twitter thread, I don't really care, but I can't take 10 minutes reading out a theory no matter how cool it is. So if you do want to write something longer, that's okay, but in the video, I'll just give a very short summary of what you've written and then link to the longer post. Number 3, please only submit your own work. If I find that you have submitted someone else's work as your own, I will never take another submission from you again, and I can and will re-render an entire video and re-upload it to take out whatever you submitted. I am not beyond that pettiness. Number 4, I don't actually care about spoilers. I know there are some people who have already gotten their novels and are already reading them and are already posting a ton of spoilers. I have already been spoiled for the whole thing, and I actually don't mind. So if you wish, feel free to send me whatever theories you have whenever you wish to send them. I promise I won't be offended, and I won't post them until the videos come out later in the month. Now, because this is a new novel, I am expecting more submissions than normal, so while in my previous videos I used pretty much all the submissions that were given to me, for the sake of time, I might have to cut out some submissions. Now, please don't take this personally, it might just be that someone just said the same thing first. Now, something I want to touch on are the dates. I want people to actually go out and read the novels and support them financially rather than just watch my videos. So you might have noticed that the date of my first video comes out a few weeks from when the novel is actually released. This also gives people who want to participate enough time to go out, get the novel, and at least read the first 100 pages. From there, a new Book Emporium video should come out every other week until we are done with the novel. And also, as a quick warning, I am expecting a baby, and my due date is in June. While we should get done with this novel in time for baby, there is a possibility that she decides to just pop out right in the middle of this. So if that is the case, then there might be a 2-month break in between some episodes. I will try my best, but life happens, you know? Also, unlike last time where I released a lore video and the Book Emporium video in the same week until we finish the novel, Book Emporium videos will replace lore videos for the weeks when they come out, coming out on Thursday rather than that Monday. At the moment, I'm trying to create some content that will air when my baby's born, and there just isn't a way to do all of that, plus a lore video, plus the Book Emporium. So that's just gonna be what it is. Okay, now let's finally go over some things you might want to know before heading into the novel. So, for those not keeping track at all, Tevinter Nights, which will be released on the 10th of this month, is unlike any of the other Dragon Age books to date. Apparently, it's going to be one of the longest, although the page count is kind of loosey-goosey and changes depending on what your listing you're looking at. But instead of being by one author and one large story, it's written by multiple BioWare employees, and each chapter is its own story and doesn't technically have to be read in order in which they appear in the novel, although it's suggested you do. While many will choose to read the whole thing cover to cover, you might want to pick up and choose based on the subject matter. While there are more detailed spoilers that more clearly list what each chapter talks about, I want to send out a list that is only based on what the titles say and nothing more. So, for starters, not all the chapter titles have a clear meaning as to what it could be. Down Among the Dead Men, Callback, Luck in the Gardens, The Wig Maker, Harold Has the Plan, and Half Up Front are all delightfully vague enough to be about really anything, and I can't even guess to what they could be. Others, while still vague, usually imply something about the Dragon Age universe, so I'm willing to take bets on what the story could be about. Hunger. From the title alone, my mind jumps to a hunger demon. In Dragon Age Origins, fanged skeletons are supposed to be possessed by a hunger demon, that's why they want to eat you. And the most notable hunger demon you meet is in Dragon Age II in the Deep Roads, who offers Hawk a way to the surface if you make a deal. Now, perhaps unrelated, but in the Dragon Age Origins Codex entry, Dane and the werewolf is referenced as a hunger in the golden wood. Some have taken this to mean that werewolves could be created by a wolf and a hunger demon, although the werewolf Codex entry from the same game lists that it's usually a demon of rage, but maybe it's both, I don't know. Murder by death mages. While it might not be 100%, most of the time in Thedas, death mages are usually what Mortalitasi are referred to. I have little else to say on this other than that it likely involves the Navarra Mortalitasi, and is perhaps even set there if there is more than one death mage, as so far the only person we have seen that is in Navarra Mortalitasi is the necromancer trainer Vius Anaxis. The Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer character Sidani, I think it's pronounced, was also trained as one, but never officially joined the Order. While Dorian and the Inquisitor can have the specialization of Necromancer, they aren't considered part of the Mortalitasi Order. The rest of the stories on the list have a more concrete Dragon Age concept in the title, so in order of which they appear, 3 Trees to Midnight. The Way of the 3 Trees, or in Elven, the Vir Tenadal, are the 3 basic rules of hunting given to the elves by the goddess of the hunt, Andrúil. This is pretty much used only by the Dalish, so it's likely that the story somehow involves the Dalish, Andrúil, and/or the Way of the 3 Trees. The Horror of Hormak. While not one of the Taigs that's really talked about much in the series, Hormak was one of the 12 major kingdoms of the Dwarven Empire. While most fell fairly quickly to the Darkspawn during the First Blight, Orzammar, Hormak, Gundar, and Kal Sharok was able to survive for some time thanks to sealing off entrances to the deep roads and cutting off small Taigs. Eventually, Orzammar, the only of the 4 to have a nearby entrance to the surface, would cut off the other 3, essentially killing them. Kal Sharok would later be found to be alive in the centuries after the First Blight, likely being able to cut their way to the surface as there is evidence of them being out in the world of Thedas. Now, Kal Sharok has something weird going on there, and its residents are likely blighted in some sort of form, although specifics have been a mystery in the series. What has happened to Hormak in all these years is surely to be interesting. The Streets of Minrathous. So this one's pretty obvious. Minrathous is the capital of the Tevinter Emporium, so I wouldn't be surprised if this story isn't set in Tevinter. Genitive II dies in the end. If you haven't read any Codex entries and don't remember Dragon Age Origins, the name Genitive II might be completely unfamiliar with you. Brother Ferdinand Genitive II is a chantry scholar that roams around Thedas and is the author of quite a few guides about the world of Thedas. Many of these guides appear in the series as Codex entries, which have appeared in each game so far. He also appears in Dragon Age Origins as the man you saved during the Temple of Sacred Ashes quest. While he can't be killed in that game, most non-game media follow the BioWare canon, which means he is still alive. As BioWare has stated, if some media conflicts with your world state, it just means that the story happens slightly differently in your world state compared to one that is similar to the canon. The title itself could also be referenced to the novel and film John Dies at the End, where, spoilers for the movie at least, John doesn't actually die in the end. So this is my only hope that my boy Genitive doesn't die, because I will be so sad. Don't kill him, please. An Old Crow's Old Tricks. Another obvious one. This one likely involves a member of the Antivan Crows, and perhaps one that is fairly old. 8 Little Talons. Not as obvious, but this one also referenced the Antivan Crows. See, the Crows are divided into houses, each ruled by a powerful family. Now, not everyone in the house belongs to the family by blood, but they will take the name of the house when they join, which is why Zevran has a last name. While there are many houses, the 8 most powerful houses call their leaders the Talons. The exact ranking changes rapidly, and they all fight amongst each other, so a leader can go easily from 1st Talon to 8th Talon within only a few years. So this could be a story that involves the current head of the 8 most powerful Antivan Crows, and perhaps them fighting amongst themselves, or not. I don't know. Dreadwolf take you. This, again, is probably obvious. While the title itself is one of many Dalish curses that essentially mean go to hell, we now know that our dear buddy Solus is actually the Dread Wolf, so I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up or is at least mentioned. While it's possible that the Dalish could play a part of this, Solus himself actually references this line in a romance with the Inquisitor at the end of Trespasser, where he sort of uses it to refer to his reputation among the people of Thedas. So it's possible that it doesn't involve the Dalish, but more so his reputation, but that's kind of vague and out there, and I'm not quite sure that really makes sense other than my mind, but that's what I was thinking. And that, everyone, is all that I should share on the new novel. To say that I'm excited for it is an understatement. Now, one thing I should add is that I tend to add spoiler tags to all my videos. After the release of Tevinter Nights, anything marked with spoilers all might include something from the novel. Now, while I don't plan on making any lore videos that will for sure include any spoilers, there's a lot of stories here that we don't actually know what's in there, so something might come up. But I just want to give a heads up to anyone who wants to avoid Tevinter Night spoilers that you might want to avoid the spoilers all video that are made after March 10th. And with that, guys, Dura Shiral.